Welcome to Top 5 Themes, a MIMSI original segment where we discuss the top 5 most significant themes of a specific book by our crazy use of social media emojis. Our book for today is 1975 Zimbabwean classic Waiting for the Rain, written by legendary writer Charles Mungoshi. Waiting for the Rain follows the story of Lucifer Mandengu as he returns to his home village in Manyene from a Western school, but upon his return, he seems to not be able to relate to his family anymore. For a bit more comprehensive summary, you can check out our doodle summary for that book and then come back. So, to the list. Number 5. Colonization. Colonization is the cause of the rift between the Mandengu family. Colonization forces them, like the rest of the black community, to resettle towards the dry fertile lands they suffer in now. The land issue has been quite an issue for a very long time, and even in literature. I mean, think of the land reform issues even in economy or society in modern times in general. Waiting for the Rain also does a great job at showing the mental impact of such an abrupt invasion. Colonization is the root of all problems of alienation, estrangement, and divisions in the Mandengu family. You can feel the uneasiness of Tongoona when he meets his son Lucifer for the first time at the bus stop. He feels so visibly uncomfortable around his own son he gave birth to an extent that it appears as if Lucifer is actually the father and not vice versa. This is because of the colonial legacy that has rendered this inferiority complex within the minds of the natives. You know, like even now, I always find it a little weird or odd how many Shona people, when they sometimes refer to their boss, they call him quote Murungu wangu. Even if he's black. Perhaps I overthink things, but why is that? Just food for thought. Number 4. Alienation. Almost every character in Waiting for the Rain is alienated in some way or the other. Garaba feels alienated from his family, who only see him as a wifeless failure or loser. Tongoona and Ryder feel alienated from their son Lucifer because they now feel he feels like he's too good for them. Which is, of course, he does feel like he's too good for them. And as for Lucifer's sister Betty, I don't know. Betty's just one of those characters I think that came to Charles Mungoshi as like an afterthought, you know, just a character who was sort of added to bulk up the pages and make the novel larger. Yeah, I really think she's that irrelevant to the plot. However, she also faces alienation because of course she hasn't been married off yet. Again, not too original, is it? Lucifer is the most alienated character in the book. He feels alienated from his lands, culture, and even family. He cannot relate to them and doesn't want to relate to them. To be brutally honest, he is just plain ashamed of them. The family also feel like foreigners in their own lands as they live in this impoverished part of the country against their will, where there is no opportunity and the people in just return, in Lucifer's words, come back to die. Number 3. Identity crisis. Identity crisis is widely known to be possessed by Lucifer, the main character. Lucifer, who can no longer identify himself with his traditional Shona culture, actually goes out of his way to deliver one of the most infamous soliloquies in Zimbabwean literature history. Garaba, on the other hand, also struggles with an identity crisis, but this identity crisis is socially imposed. He sees himself as an antelope being eaten by ants simply because the society that surrounds him want him to settle down and have a wife, although he already feels content by his own way of life of going to different villages and playing the drum for them. Despite the old man's approval of Garaba's behavior, he still carries this deep sense of insecurity and an insecurity that makes him question himself as a person and as a man. Number 2. Western versus African culture. This is mainly symbolized through Lucifer and his older brother Garaba. Lucifer obviously symbolizes the incoming Western culture, while Garaba represents the old established African traditional culture. Lucifer is an artist good with the pen, and Garaba is also an artist who is excellent with the drum. However, it is an ironic circumstance that Lucifer's Western talents are almost sort of useless to Manyene as opposed to Garaba's, which connect people to their ancestors. However, because of the blinding effects of the inferiority complex of Western culture, Lucifer is in fact the golden boy and not Garaba. This strongly symbolizes and satirizes how the village moves away from their own traditional ways of life towards other foreign modes they don't even totally understand. After all, knowing the Bible and its biblical history, I for one wouldn't settle for a name like Lucifer to name my child or my kid. Seriously, who in the right mind would name their child Lucifer? When the old man says Lucifer is playing someone else's drum, he might as well be referring to the rest of the village, as they now value things they shouldn't and shun the things that clearly do add value in their lives in reality. Of course, such as the sacred African drum. And finally, number one, and what we believe is the top theme in this book, is dryness and futility. There is dryness, dust, and futility imagery all over the place in Waiting for the Rain. There is dryness when Lucifer comes back from school and he sees how dry and futile his land in Manyene is. This dryness also comes as a metaphor of futility to many other things in the novel. This futility of happiness, wealth, solidarity, self-love, and even meaning, among other things. The book itself is titled Waiting for the Rain. In most African cultures, rain, especially after a long drought, symbolizes renewal, relief, hope, or growth. But with Waiting for the Rain, as in the 20th century existentialist play Waiting for Godot, all of these things never come to pass, making the book rather depressing or pessimistic depending on what you see it. Kind of like Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. That one. Lucifer by the end of the book hasn't reconciled with his family, and if anything, he really makes it clear that the division between him and his culture is still quite ripe and gaping when he throws away his mother's traditional medicine meant to keep him safe overseas abroad when he goes away. So that does it for the quick top 5 themes of this book in our opinion. You know, this is actually a new series to this channel, but it's actually not too bad. Not a bad idea. Much thanks to Marvelous Mapfurire for suggesting this book and this idea. Much love and thanks for watching the channel. And as for the rest of y'all, if you think we left out any other theme or you have any other African book you would like us to feature in this emoji themes segment, please comment below and we'll see what we can do. So, till next time. As always guys, thanks for watching Memesy Africa.